Hey guys, welcome back to Kubrick Corner with me, Sean Wilson. I'm aware that it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, been busy here, there and everywhere, but tonight I must tell you about Black Panther, Marvel's new film, because I went to a preview screening in London. This is an advance review. One of the perks of my job is that I occasionally get to see films in advance, and boy, what a treat this is. So the debut solo adventure of T'Challa, Black Panther, played by Chadwick Boseman, who we were first introduced to in Captain America: Civil War, where, if you remember, his father T'Chaka died in an explosion. And what now this now picks up the thread of that particular Black Panther narrative, which is now T'Challa has now the heir incumbent to the kingdom of Wakanda, the mysterious African kingdom that produces the metal vibranium that makes up Captain America's shield. And there is a vast sort of suppository of vibranium in this incredibly rich African landscape. But there is an insurgent threat in the form of Ulysses Claw, played by Andy Serkis, whom we've seen before in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and new character Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. Now, I don't really want to go into the particulars of the plot on this, because I'm aware that if I go into it too much, it will actually constitute a spoiler. And in comparison to characters like Iron Man and Captain America, the Black Panther and the ensuing canon might be relatively more mysterious to non-Marvel fans. So I'm going to stop with the plot there, and I'm just going to reveal why I think this is one of the best Marvel movies that's ever been made. I mean, for me, when I was sitting there watching it in the screening in London, and believe me, there was some really enthusiastic reaction. There were a lot of laughs, that people applauded at the end. People were really into this, and I think there's a number of reasons why. For me personally, it brought back that thrill that I got when I saw the first Iron Man for the first time. It brought back that sense of surprise, that sense of wow, a big blockbuster property, tentpole property, can actually take me by surprise. Of course, when Iron Man came out, no one knew that would then result in this ensuing Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was a genuine surprise, but it also called to mind the joy that I had when I first watched Guardians of the Galaxy. And what I mean by that is that when Guardians came out, it established its own unique tone and style and landscape within the MCU. It was part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the first Guardians, at least, didn't hew to any of the other movies. It stood on its own. It didn't really cross-reference with any of the films in any other way. And Black Panther is largely the same. It really, although it is part of the ongoing Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're obviously in Phase 3 now, and this is now going to lead into Avengers: Infinity War, Black Panther does stand on its own as a really richly textured, unique story. There are a couple of allusions to other films. Unsurprisingly, we get the flashbacks to the death of T'Chaka in Civil War, because that's obviously necessary to to bring people up to date to an extent, and that informs the spine of Black Panther's emotional arc in the story about whether he feels he is worthy to step up to the kingdom of Wakanda. And Chadwick Boseman really embraces this role. He had to share screen time in Civil War with all the other characters, whereas now he really gets a chance to put his stamp on this, and he's really good, really charismatic, really noble, and really funny. And that's one of the things about this film that I think the trailers perhaps don't imply. This film is funny. I mean, like properly funny, like Guardians of the Galaxy level funny. There are a lot of really great jokes in it. And it's very even-handed in the way it levens out its jokes. Pretty much all of the characters get big laughs. I have to give a special shout out to Letitia Wright as T'Challa's sister, Shuri, who is basically the Q-like figure. She's the one who creates all the gadgets, all the weaponry, and she's brilliant. She's really funny, and she has really great chemistry with Chadwick Boseman. It's brilliantly cast across the board. Another shout out to Michael B. Jordan. Again, I can't really go into the particulars of Eric's character. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen the film yet, but he comes from a different angle to most. I mean, most Marvel villains turn up and they're pretty one-dimensional. They want to blow everything up. There's a big punch up, that's it. This is actually slightly different, because one of the things that the film does is it sets up opposing ideological conflicts. So on the one hand, you have the traditional tribal kingdom of Wakanda, whose traditions actually call to mind in many ways. I mean, there are definite allusions to things like the Lion King and also Zulu, but also there was a very interesting film that came out last year called I'm Not a Witch, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if I would imagine there was genuine research went into actual African tribal customs to this. There are genuinely spectacular visual scenes and really arresting moments. But you've got, so on the one hand, you have the tribal traditions of Wakanda, and then on the other hand, you have this different ideology of Eric, who has come from a different background. I don't want to say how or why, but when these two things meet in the middle, what you get is a fascinating collision of, I suppose, what might be determined as, in some cases, as the black experience. It's the black experience is seen maybe from different angles, and this really is a case for diversity and equality within the Marvel Cinematic Universe under the umbrella of a really, really entertaining Marvel blockbuster. And it delivers laughs, it delivers thrills, it delivers poignancy, it delivers shocks. It's beautifully directed by Ryan Coogler, who, I mean, it's 3 for 3 with Ryan Coogler now. He's done Fruitvale Station, he's done Creed, and now he's done this, all of which are absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's a hat trick, to use a British football expression, of really great films. And I think what he's able to do in this, he's able to demonstrate his visual intuition, perhaps more than in the other two movies, which are relatively more grounded. There are moments of real breathtaking visual poetry in this, which really did take my breath away. There's a fight sequence in Freefall that you feel your jaw dropping like that, like the Mask style. But there is also that street level grit as well. It is recognisably a Ryan Coogler film, and I think this is the real great triumph of the movie. There's been a lot of talk lately about maverick directors being brought into blockbuster properties only to have the films taken away from them. It happened with Phil Lord and Chris Miller on Solo. It happened with Edgar Wright on Ant-Man. But I think that the great triumph of this is that Marvel have allowed this to be a Ryan Coogler film. Secondly, as soon as it starts, and you get this really fascinating mashup between street level grit and this incredibly expansive environment of Wakanda, it is recognisably a Ryan Coogler movie. I mean, clearly the presence of Michael B. Jordan bears that out, but also his facility with actors and dialogue. And again, when you go into the world outside Wakanda, into the places like America, there are recognisable Ryan Coogler characteristics in the way that characters speak to each other, in the way that he observes street level behaviour, that is really, really engrossing, really good. So that is the most triumphant thing of all. I think it's great that Marvel are now at this stage where, 10 years down the line, they can now start experimenting with the sort of films they're putting out. Last year we had Thor Ragnarok, which was a Taika Waititi comedy posing as a superhero movie. That was radical as well. This, I would say, is equally as radical, if not more. It's a Ryan Coogler movie, definitely. And if you like Fruitvale Station, if you like Creed, you'll love this. If you haven't seen either of those films, I would suggest going to check them out before going to see Black Panther. I can't recommend this highly enough. Again, shout out to the rest of the cast: Lupita Nyong'o, Forrest Whitaker, Andy Serkis, Angela Bassett, Denai Guerrera as the leader of the Wakandan sort of special guard, who was really funny and really charismatic, and it was an absolute joy to watch. Really well cast, really great, and another triumph for Marvel. So go and see Black Panther. It's out in the UK from next week, and be sure to drop me comments here at Kubrick Corner with your thoughts on the film. Until then, see you soon.